Does Pluto hide a spectacular secret? Just because the celestial body has lost its official planet status does not mean that it has disappeared from the center of astronomical interest. Quite the opposite. After all, NASA's New Horizons probe has taken a close look at the bitterly cold dwarf world, and in doing so, has brought something incredible to light. And here it comes. Since then, evidence has been mounting that life could actually exist on Pluto. The world of mnemonics is also apparently subject to the principle that nothing is made to last forever. After all, the sentence, "My father explains our 9 planets to me every Sunday," has long since become obsolete as a mnemonic for the order of the planets. As is well known, the number of members of our planetary system was reduced from 9 to 8 on August 24, 2006, because Pluto was removed from that very list on that day. But what actually led to the reclassification of the small celestial body? Well, it's quite simple. Experts had detected more and more Pluto-like objects in the remote Kuiper belt. And to prevent the list of our planets from bursting at the seams in the future, the International Astronomical Union decided to redefine the term planet. For a celestial body to be considered as such, it must orbit the Sun, have an approximately spherical shape, and have cleared its orbit of other objects through its gravitational field. Ultimately, it was the last criterion that sealed Pluto's planetary fate, which is why it has since been listed in the newly established class of dwarf planets. There is no question that Pluto has truly earned the addition dwarf. With a diameter of just 2,376 kilometers, it is, in fact, more than 1,000 kilometers smaller than Earth's moon. In terms of cold, however, the dwarf planet has no need to hide from the other members of the solar system. On its surface, the average temperature is a frosty minus 233 degrees Celsius. That's only 40 degrees above absolute zero. Due to this icy starting point, it seems that Pluto is far too cold for all life forms known to us. Or is it? How New Horizons revealed Pluto's true face. When it comes to the actual composition of the celestial body, Pluto's atmosphere consists of 99% nitrogen, while its surface is dominated by nitrogen ice. The massive core, which corresponds to about 70% of Pluto's diameter, is mainly composed of rock, surrounded by a mantle of water ice. But despite its modest dimensions, the dwarf planet is by no means alone on its journey through space. It is accompanied by at least 5 moons, of which Charon is by far the largest. In fact, this natural satellite, with a diameter of around 1,200 kilometers, is half the size of Pluto itself. This is why some experts believe it makes more sense to consider the celestial bodies not as separate entities, but rather as a Pluto-Charon double system. And it may be that we are dealing with a double system that was formed by an astronomical kiss. While researchers have long assumed that Pluto and Charon came together as a result of a catastrophic collision, more recent models suggest a so-called kiss and capture scenario. This means that the two celestial bodies collided but remained largely intact. Fortunately, the NASA probe New Horizons, which on July 14, 2015, more than 85 years after Pluto's initial discovery, became the first spacecraft ever to swing by the remote reaches of Pluto, also remained intact. The 480 kilograms probe took more than 9 years to bridge the enormous distance between Earth and the dwarf planet. Pluto was still officially listed as a planet when New Horizons plunged into the vastness of the cosmos on January 19, 2006. Although the spacecraft has long since left the celestial body again, and in just under 20 years will pass the boundary into interstellar space in the best Voyager manner, the evaluation of the Pluto data is still in full swing. Pluto as a habitable world. When New Horizons arrived at Pluto, it reached a breakneck speed of 52,000 kilometers per hour. The probe was traveling so fast that it only got to see one side of the celestial body up close, specifically the hemisphere that was bathed in the light of the distant sun at the time. The opposite side of the dwarf planet, on the other hand, was literally in the dark and could only be explored by New Horizons in the days before and after its closest approach. After initially focusing on the well-lit hemisphere, experts have now turned their attention to Pluto's shadowed side. The corresponding images, however, are not nearly as sharp as those of the sunlit side. Only landscape formations with a resolution of 2 to 30 kilometers can be recognized. But what at first sounds rather rough is, in fact, 250 times more precise than the insights that the Hubble Space Telescope once provided us into the remote ice world. Accordingly, New Horizons images show Pluto's composition in unprecedented detail. And they even suggest the groundbreaking conclusion that the bitterly cold celestial body could ultimately be hospitable to life. Experts have long suspected that the dwarf planet is hiding a soaking secret. It could harbor a huge underground reservoir of liquid water. And, as we all know, water in a permanently liquid form is one of the basic requirements for the development of life similar to that on Earth. But how can it be that water remains liquid on Pluto when average temperatures of minus 233 degrees Celsius prevail there? Well, a few factors can reduce the melting point of water. Salts dissolved in water, high pressure, and friction caused by tidal forces, which convert some kinetic energy into thermal energy. How life on Pluto could unfold. If this hidden ocean really exists, and even has inhabitants, the experts agree that it would by no means be a highly developed underwater civilization, but rather simple microorganisms. This hypothesis is supported by the discovery of water traces on Pluto's surface, which have left a reddish discoloration. This reddish hue represents nothing less than an indication of a high concentration of organic molecules, the basic building blocks of life. It is conceivable that their origin lies in cosmic radiation or solar wind. After all, experiments have shown that such complex reddish compounds can arise when molecules such as water, methane, or nitrogen are exposed to radiation bombardment. If ammonia is also involved, the bases that we find in RNA and DNA can even be formed. Particularly exciting in this regard is an article published in the journal Astrobiology by a team led by New Horizons researcher Dale Cruikshank. It lists evidence suggesting that Pluto's ice is not only red, but also contains ammonia. However, the authors emphasize that this is far from proof that Pluto harbors extraterrestrial organisms. The results only show that microscopic creatures could survive there. What is certain, however, is the fact that the red band runs across Pluto's equator, the zone that receives the most sunlight and has the warmest climate. So, the bottom line is that 2 out of 3 conditions on the potential life checklist have already been ticked off on the dwarf planet. White heavy checkmark, there are indications of liquid water. White heavy checkmark data suggest the presence of organic matter. Crossmark, what is still missing is a suitable energy source that maintains life-friendly conditions. We can only look forward to seeing if and when Pluto will reveal this last secret. And if you're wondering whether there's a price for subscribing to our channel, we can reassure you. Click the thumbs up and subscribe for free now so you'll never miss a new video from us again. We'll see you soon. Rocket.